I think this is the right place here. Where is my finger? Okay. Just go on the back and just do it here. Perfect. Okay. Some of this negative space is really important when you are making a ceremony. So you don't want things to look flat. You don't want things to look straight. You want things to look like almost curving all the time. So the negative space that we're leaving here, we're going to try to respect that all the time. Even if we add flowers, even if we add foliage, this initial shape that has a lot of negative space is something that you don't want to cover even if you start adding up more elements. So let me see what's going on here. Do you need another zip tie here? Just add another one here, okay? And if it moves a little bit, just add a little bit of wire here, Mari. You can just add un pedacito de alambre aquí. Okay? Once you have finished the shape of your ceremony, we're going to cover some of the mechanics. We're going to cover some of the black bags. And for that, you want to have really a foliage that can stand being without water. The soil inside these pots has to be quite humid. So once you have placed them here, you can actually give them an extra drink, because whatever we're poking inside here without water almost becomes like humid conditions for some of the plants, some of the stems that I'm using without water to be okay for the time that they're going to be on this ceremony. So to cover my mechanics, we have this very resilient foliage. We have tested in very hot conditions, and we know that it's very resilient. So Mari and Jime, what they're going to start doing is try to cover some of the mechanics, but very close to the back. So you don't want to cover it covering what you have already done. You want to just go quite underneath so that you have a base of greenery, but without losing the shape that you already created. The first part is all about covering the mechanics a little bit, but you don't want to overdo it, because you also have to bring your flowers into your arbor or into your ceremony installation. My team, what is doing right now is covering some of the bags, and that's something very easy to do. You just have to use your clippers. I'm going to show you how they're doing this. Because this is a plastic bag, can you see? It's impossible for you to just come and poke it like this. So you're just going to poke the bag, just make a little hole inside. And in that hole, you're going to place the foliage that you know that will be okay without any water. As I was telling you, there's some humidity inside that soil, but it has to be a resilient foliage. And then you're just going to place it over there. So as you can see, it's quite easy. Just poke the bag. You can't really see it there, but I'm going to show you. Let me show you over here, because we still have some areas to cover. So you come here, you poke the bag with your clippers, and inside that hole, pretty much you add with your clippers, and then you add a piece of foliage inside, and that will start covering some of your mechanics. When you're doing that, just make sure that it doesn't look stiff, that it doesn't look all the same level. You have to always play with levels, in and out all the time. That's the only way we convey movement, but this is something that you already learned in your centerpieces, in your brides, in the large-scale arrangement. Movement is created by doing layers. Another poke here. And place that one there. The other thing that I want you to notice is that I'm not putting this square, I'm creating rivers. When you create rivers of foliage, of flowers, or something that you're doing, you also convey movement. But if you go all lined and all straight, it will look quite stiff. So one thing that we're trying to do, and you can see that the way they did it, is they're just trying to create some kind of rivers. Obviously, right now, it looks a little bit stiff because we're just adding the greenery. But when we start adding flowers, we will try to always keep that principle of making the flowers flow like if they were growing naturally into an arbor or into a pergola. The next thing that's going to happen is I'm going to work in some of my focal flowers. But the focal flowers that I have chosen for these ones are chrysanthemums because I know that they are okay under really hot conditions. Once you have covered your structure and your bags partially, we're going to start adding some of our flowers. I want to guide you to some of the selection of flowers that I have here because it's important the decision of how you place them, which ones go first, then second, and which ones go lastly. So the first thing I'm going to do is add some of the chrysanthemums, and for that I'm going to use some water tubes. As you can see, we have buckets of water tubes already pre-filled with water so that we don't have to do that on site. It's actually quite time consuming. So make sure that you bring your water tubes already filled and that the bucket that you have them is full with water because sometimes they just tilt and then sometimes they just lose the water. So by tubing them, it's very easy to place them inside your bags as well. And that's why I like to choose this type of water tubes. The ones that have this pointy end so that I can just poke the bag as well. You don't place the flowers without thinking what you're doing. It's not just like arriving and placing some here, some there, some there. We're following the same principles. We are creating layers, we are creating movement, and for that, I'm going to start something from there to here, or it can be from there to here. If she's busy playing and doing something there, covering the mechanics there, I can start over here, but always being mindful that I want to create something really beautiful, quite natural. So for that, I'm just gonna show you how you poke your bags with your flowers. Let me just step back a little bit. This is a very beautiful stem. I don't wanna lose it, but I wanna make sure that I place it in the right direction. So I think I'm just gonna place it somewhere here. And for that, I'm just gonna poke with the water tube, the bag, and place the flower there. Can you see how easy it is to do it without using oasis or foam? And those flowers will be actually happier than if I was using a floral foam. So again, I'm gonna use some of these moms that Brie is already handing to me. So the way you work with your team is they hand you the flowers and then you can go quite fast. And I'm gonna follow this line. So I wanna go somewhere down here. And I'm gonna add maybe one on this side as well. And I want you to make sure that you notice that I'm playing with levels. So these and these ones are not in the same line. This one is deeper, this one is coming out, and this one is actually coming outer. And when she hands me something that is quite short, I make sure that I can go quite low. But when she hands me one that has a very graceful curve, I will use that flower to come quite out. So your flowers guide you, if they have this stiff, not very curvy stem, maybe they are meant to be lower, but if they have this graceful, beautiful stem, they are supposed to come out. So I'm just gonna fill some of this space with this one. Just poke the back. One more. Always look at your flowers. If I place this one on this side, it's not the same as if I place it like this. So flowers have a face, and you want to show their most beautiful face to your installation. So I'm just going to place maybe this one somewhere here, following that line. If you find one really graceful with a curvy stem, can you just pass it to me, please? And then I'm going to go with this one, which is shorter, quite deeper inside here. So this is what I'm trying to create here. And they already know what I'm doing. I'm just going to come and double check on them. And I think this one should go here, Mari, better, on this direction. It looks nicer. Just make this one here and then this one a little bit lower. But this one can come maybe even somewhere here. But when I place this one, can you see how similar they look in level? So I'm just gonna place this one again. Did you lose your water tube? We're gonna rescue the water tube. Just make it shorter so they don't look in the same level. Some of them have to be in and some of them have to be out. Why? Because if you don't do that, you don't convey movement. So always remember, in and out, creating layers. That will allow you to have a very soft looking arbor or installation. So again, Mari, if we're here, we want to make sure that this one goes deeper, okay? So just can you place this one somewhere here? So we're placing some of the flowers that we know that will be okay, even if they are in the sun, even if they are longer period of hours while we are building these installations. Another flower that is really good for you to use, it's Lisianthus. Any variety of Lisianthus will be really good when you are working installations. I love this one. This is called the antique Lisianthus. Just separating some of these stems because I want to show you something. My team will keep working on the chrysanthemums layer while I show you what goes after that. When you have Lisianthus and you want to work them for an installation, I want to show you how this is a complete different flower if it's closed than if it's open. So make sure that you open them because they will really perform in a more beautiful, softer way, and they will also show some of their beautiful shades and different tones and colors in your installations as you open them. Sometimes this can be quite time consuming. If you know that you have to do one installation like this in a very short period of time, have someone of your team opening your flowers because we are going to use all of them open and you really want to have all your flowers open like this before you place them. This is a complete different flower and a different proposition than having them closed like this. Just look at the difference. Also, when you open them, they will take more space in your installation, so you will use less flowers. But this is how we're using your Lisianthus. You can do the same with any color or variety of Lisianthus. Some of them have more fragile, more delicate petals, but it's okay. They are quite good at you manipulating them. Some of these moms, and again, not everywhere. You're not doing this like polka dot feeling. You are creating rivers. So I'm gonna place some of them here, some of them there, following this line as I go down. Can you water tube this, please? While she water tubes some of that, I'm gonna show you one of my favorite flowers to use in installations. It's called Majolica. I think we already used that in all of our classes because this is a very common flower in the flower market in Mexico, and it's a great flower to use in installations. It doesn't perform so well if you are working in really hot conditions, and if I'm working on the seaside or I'm doing this installation in a place that I know that it will be quite hot, I place them at the last minute. But if it's something like today, which is not so sunny and the weather is not so hot, I can place them at the beginning. But again, what I want to make sure is that I place them completely open. So Majolica is one of those sprays roses that are okay, that you manipulate them. You can open them completely like that. And you can actually remove some of the petals of the center, because when you do that, you show more of that color inside and they look more natural. When roses grow in an arbor or roses grow naturally, some of them are closed, some of them are open, some of them are more just starting to open their petals, some of them are fully open. So you want to, again, convey that sense of natural look into your arbor. That's why I make sure that I open my Majolica before I use it. And again, I want to show you the difference of having something like this and something like that. Again, it's just not only about showing them in a more natural way. They use more space when you open them, and then you will use less flowers. So we are also going to create some rivers of this Majolica. She's gonna water tube some of them. And I'm gonna show Mari the next step, which will be placing some of the Lisianthus in the river of color. So we're gonna go all the way from here, Mari. We're gonna add some Lisianthus here. Take advantage of the natural looking of them as they spill down. Don't be afraid of coming quite out. It's actually quite nice to leave them sloping down, because that's what things will do naturally. So you're just gonna add, Mari, some of this, and Jime, some of these Lisianthus, coming out right here, creating a river that goes all the way from here. So I need some lower here, maybe some, and then some higher, and then some looser here, okay? So they already know that they are going to create a very nice movement of those, and I'm gonna show them also how to place the Majolica intertwined with these ones, so that they know this is the other layer of color that we're going to go through. So I'm just gonna place that one here, and maybe she's growing from this vine. She can come from here, and the last one that I'm just gonna show them what I'm looking for, I'm gonna place it maybe somewhere here, quite low. Lower, just I wanna make sure that they look in different levels. And again, when I'm here, I must just get rid of some of these petals, open them like this, so that they look more natural as they grow into this installation. I want to show you something that is important for you to consider. When you're using water tubes, some of these water tubes will lose the water if you put them quite low, if you put them upside down. So just make sure that they don't lose the water. And if you need to have that effect, just be mindful of where you're putting your flowers. I would like to make this a cluster, a thicker thing, so I'm just gonna go quite diagonal so that I don't lose the water. And I'm just gonna leave this one somewhere there. Yeah. So someone of your team will be hanging you some of tube flowers, but ask them to do it in different heights so that everything has in and outs. So that's why she's doing some shorter and some longer, so that I can have different heights. And then I can choose to come with this one here, but this one that is shorter, I'm gonna place it somewhere here. So again, it's about creating layers and having in and outs. I'm gonna take some of these Lisianthus here. Again, I'm gonna open them a lot before I use them. So I'm just gonna open them completely so that I can use them in this installation, showing this color as well. So I want to see where can I place this one, and I think it has to be somewhere here to follow the line of those moms there. That's fine. Okay. I'm gonna go a little bit lower now, following the line again. So I don't want to go straight. I already have something coming here, going out there, so then it's time for me to go somewhere here. So I'm just gonna use this one, poke it a little bit on the back, allowing them to flop down. Maybe it's a little bit taller, maybe I need shorter one for now. Can you hand me a shorter one? Yeah, that's shorter that I can place here. And then another shorter to make this a more intentional color. And somewhere there. Okay, so this is what we're doing. And on this side, they're just doing the same. They're just helping me to create something like that. What I want you to notice is that we have these water sources here, and they are meant to be used for some of our focal flowers as well. So now we're going to build up into our color palette, and that means that we want to jump from all these more muted colors until we get to our beautiful peaches and cream, some of the dahlias. But then what I want you to know is that this moment will be quite close to the moment that you are delivering. If you do this really in advance, maybe your dahlias will resent the heat. So always make sure that you have already covered most of your foliage, you have worked with all your resilient flowers, and then you are ready to work with some of your more delicate stems. So I'm going to prepare some tubes for this. I'm going to ask them to tube some of these dahlias as well for me. So we're just going to start tubing that. And before I do that, I'm going to use also some of my favorite ever flowers that are this beautiful spray rose called the Guavara. So this is, Guavara is the brand. You have different varieties. You have Guavara Sola, Guavara Ioli, I think is the name. You can look at them in the perfume flower company. They have incredibly beautiful types of spray roses. And even if they look delicate and fragile, it's amazing how resilient they are under hot conditions and how much they last. And I really like how they perform as an open flower. So I'm going to show you that. Can you hold this a little? I want to show you the difference of working with a flower that is not open again and allowing yourself to open these ones. Sometimes you will have to remove some of the buds just because they are on the way of you opening your flower. Don't be afraid of removing some of them. It's nice to leave some of them because that will be natural, but how you see the difference of having them like this or having them fully open. And again, removing some of the petals will bring this beautiful golden color inside that will allow you to bridge some of this more pink color into the yellow color palette, into the orange color palette that we want